Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? More and more evidence is coming out of just how effing corrupt our government is. When it comes to these bank runs that are happening, do you understand that our government is contacting certain individuals, letting them know to take their money out of the bank ahead of time before they do what they do? This is like insider trader information. They are telling certain people, not us pissants, but certain privileged people ahead of time to take their money out. This is beyond illegal. And is anything going to happen to these people? No. You want to know why? Because there's no repercussions for this shit. None whatsoever. They are going to run willy-nilly, and they know the public don't give a crap. You'll complain about what happened to your money, and you'll complain about your bank, but nobody is standing up with a bunch of sticks heading towards them saying, hey, what the hell is going on? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $200, you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver with your order. Just follow the link down below in the description. No promo codes are needed. You can find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I do have my own group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, as well as foreign currency investments and any other investments you wish to talk about. Come on over here. It's free to join. Just follow the link down below in the description. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now Rumble. Yes, that's right. I finally got a Rumble. And in addition to that, you can find me over here at Pimpy's News Network. If I should ever get kicked off of YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these platforms. So come join me. It's free to do so. The links for all these locations are down below in the description. So come on over and join me. I've been doing videos now for years explaining to people that you need to get your money out of your bank. It's to protect you. It's to protect your savings. It's to protect your wealth. It's to protect your family from what the hell is going on. I've been saying this now for quite some time. So, Redacted put out a video that caught my attention. It just pissed me off. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. And again, there is a way for us to stop what's happening. So, if you guys want to contribute to stopping the central bank digital currency, I'm going to explain to you here shortly on what it is you have to do. And for all you people out there buying XRP or any of those cryptos that contribute to the progress of these people and the central bank digital currency, you idiots, get rid of the freaking coins. You're helping them, all right? But let's get into this, shall we? Clayton Morris and his wife, Redacted, they do a great job. They cover a lot of different subjects that we should be concerned about. And these are some subjects that the mainstream media is not touching on. I love listening to them. You heard me share their videos in the past. Again, I will leave a link to their video down below in the description. You guys go on over there and join. Tell them Pimpy sent you, okay? But let's start with this video. Let's get into this because before we get into this video, I don't watch mainstream media, not at all. I trust independent journalists more than anybody else. There are a lot of good people out there reporting some great stuff. So I pay attention to all the food processing plants that burn down. I pay attention to all the lumber yards that are burning down. I'm paying attention to all the derailed trains that are taking place. I'm paying attention to all those derailed trains that have chemicals on them that magically always fall into the water that contaminate the local water and then spreads on down for hundreds of miles. That's killing livestock, that's killing farms because the water is poisonous. I'm paying attention to the hundreds of millions of livestock like chicken, ducks, turkeys around the world that are being destroyed through euthanasia, and they're claiming it's because it's some kind of bird flu. I'm paying attention to all the cattle that are being killed because of some freaking different strain of mad cow. I watch all these things, and I do that because there is a much, much bigger agenda taking place. I pay attention to what happens to the World Economic Forum. I pay attention to what happens to gold, silver, cryptocurrencies. I pay attention to currencies in general around the world, and I see what's happening. I see it all. And there's a reason why I need to keep track of all that. if not for nothing else, at least for myself, that I understand what is really going on, and I'm trying to do all I can to prepare for what's going to happen. And I share my information with you, and I get it. Some people out there give me crap, and they want to call me a tinfoil hat wearer. That's fine. You sit there. You don't have to do nothing. This information is for those who care. I'm going to share information with you, and then I'm going to tell you how it is we could beat the central bank digital currency. And then any YouTuber that's out there listening to this video, I want you to share the same information. If we all do this together, and it starts happening now, we can prevent the central bank digital currency from happening. It's bad enough that we got Democrats trying to figure out how to censor any information out there about the collapse of all the banks. By the way, there's another one getting ready to collapse.
Why did the government step in and bail out multiple banks and bank depositors over the past few days, and it hung FTX crypto depositors out to dry?
I can tell you why. The government doesn't want the people to find out the truth about FTX. The FTX was a CIA front. They used it to funnel money around the world. It's just unfortunately that the idiot that they put up as the front person was doing some real shabby things and got caught. Not to mention the girl that was their accountant, their CEO, whatever the hell she was tweeting about how she doesn't understand how people could go on about their daily lives without doing meth. She's stupid enough to put it on her Twitter account.
Let's just come back to that in a second.
Okay.
So we're going to put that out there. Everyone was freaking out about FTX collapsing, all these people losing all this money. These banks collapse. Biden administration steps in and is going to make them whole. Okay. So just
does it have to?
First of all, it's against the law to do bailouts. The last time we did this in 2008, everybody complained. The government said, fine, we're going to pass a law saying we would no longer do any bailouts. They'll do bail-ins.
To do with FDIC insurance?
I don't know. Put a pin in it for a second.
Okay.
You guys get your thoughts in on this here in the chat room. We'll see what you have to say on both Rumble and YouTube. But we are at a tipping point right now, guys. This afternoon in U.S. financial history, and you can kind of sense what's happening. What I'm about to show you something that will probably make your jaw drop, as it did mine, going through these numbers. So just wait a second for that.
Your jaw should not be dropping. I've been warning you guys about this for years.
I've got some good news, though, I do want to start with, and I've got some bad news. I want to start with some good news, though, and I'm encouraged because there's been a lot of awareness about the CBDCs over the past few hours, over the past 24 hours, that this is all orchestrated and you're not falling for it. I'm seeing a lot of independent media showing awareness about something we've been talking about on the show for a while. Other independent media have been talking about this, that the Biden administration, of course, wants to move us off of cash into central bank digital currencies.
Yes.
And this isn't like some conspiracy theory where people are saying, oh, you're a tinfoil hat kind of person. No. Even Tucker, we did the show yesterday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Then even Tucker covered it last night on his show, that there's this movement towards central bank digital currencies. There seems to be...
Kim Iverson had a similar take as well.
Yeah, Kim Iverson. So there's starting to be an awareness about this. Catherine Austin Fitz has been covering this. The team at InfoWars has been covering this. So I am encouraged. To me, that's good news.
What you got to do is stop allowing the mainstream media that target and attack people with the loudest voices, like Alex Jones. Regardless of what you think of him, the man has been bringing awareness to what's going on. And they target that guy. They make anybody and everybody that follows them sound like a tinfoil hat wearing individual. Forget the individual, focus more on the subject matter, because what he's covering recently, everybody else is covering as well.
We are not being duped. We are aware what they are doing and planning right now. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my just good news feeling on all of this. That this is not like conspiratorial. This is what they're doing. But we did our show where I said that they're going to.
Seriously, the more I think about this, it just really pisses me off. The fact that the Democrats are trying to censor this information from going out. They are violating our constitutional rights, and they have no problems with doing it because there's no repercussion. What are you going to do? Even if we got 1 million people, what are you going to do?
To do this, they're going to move us closer to a digital bank, digital currency, get you off of cash. And one way to screw them over right now, actually...
I have been telling people now for the longest time, take your money out of your bank account. I told everybody yesterday that my local bank had limited your ATM transactions to $300 a day. This Bank of America, you know what happened today? The bank was closed early and they shut down their ATMs. So you know something's going on. You know something is going on. And I live in a small hick town, all right? This kind of thing doesn't happen to our banks. About 6 months earlier, one of those local banks was closed. And when I asked the girls what the hell happened, they said, we walked in one day and they just told us this will be our last week and didn't say why. So they're closing down all these local small banks. And now we're just focusing on the bigger banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, who, by the way, about 2 weeks ago, their customers find out that they're missing money out of their account. It just disappeared. And they've been fighting for their money back now for quite some time. They are purposely destroying the banking institution to get everybody all excited about central bank digital currency. But listen what Clay's saying. I want all of us to get behind this. Everybody should be doing this. Listen to what Clay says.
You take out as much cash as you can. Take out as much cash as you can and store it wherever you feel safe, or convert some of your money right now to gold and silver.
Yes.
Because, boy, that would screw them big time.
How long have I been saying this? If you want to prevent the central bank digital currency from happening, we can beat them to the punch by everybody going to the bank and taking your money out now. Take it out now. Hold it in a safe at your house. Go buy a safe. Find a great stash spot. Remember, only put enough money in your banking account to cover your monthly expenses. Everything else should be out of there. Whether you keep it in cash, whether you buy it in gold and silver, which I recommend. You want to have that safety net there. Look, I know a lot of very rich people. They don't keep money in the bank account. And they have millions of dollars in their own safe. They don't keep it in the account. There's a reason for that. And I like what Clay's saying here. I think this is a movement that everybody should get behind. And that is either convert it all over into precious metals or just take the cash out and keep it yourself. And whenever you need it, you just take it out. And for all you people out there that added extra debt because you heard that Sarah was going to pay all your debt off, man, you guys are going to get screwed. Stop listening to those lying people out there and get prepared for what's really about to happen. Take your cash out of your bank account now. Credit Suisse is the next bank that's getting ready to crash. One bank after the other. What the government should be doing, instead of sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine and starting a war with China, by the way, did you know they sent a bunch of ships over there towards Taiwan? They're trying to fight China and Russia at the same time. Take your money out of the account. Take what you can out. Leave the rest in there for your bills. Find a way to start stashing your money over to the side. All right?
Absolutely piss them off. They do not want you to do that.
So I'm going to rewind it so you can hear what Clay had to say.
Get you off of cash. And one way to screw them over right now actually is to take out as much cash as you can. Take out as much cash as you can and store it wherever you feel safe, or convert some of your money right now to gold and silver. Because, boy, that would screw them big time.
Another movement that's going on is people are not paying their taxes because people aren't being asked about where the money's going. Once they pay taxes, there's no representation or taxation without representation. If everybody stops at one time, this government would totally halt because it won't be able to function. They can't afford to pay their bills. All hell would break loose. Then that means we, the people, have taken back the power. Take your money out of the account. Buy gold and silver. You could buy it, trade it, sell it, do whatever you need to do. Protect you and your family. Clay's going to talk about people getting into Bitcoin. But again, keep in mind that cryptocurrencies are still in the system. If you buy them or sell them, you have to go through your bank account, and that's not what you want.
Absolutely piss them off. They do not want you to do that. They absolutely don't want you to buy Bitcoin. They don't want you to buy gold and silver. They don't want you to take money out of the bank.
Well, some of them don't even want us to discuss taking money out on the bank. Like we reported yesterday, and Michael Schellenberger expanded the story about how, who was it, Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, had said that he does not want even discussions because they called this the first Twitter-based run on the bank, which, what does that even mean?
Well, he wants censorship. He doesn't want people to talk about it on social media.
Because that would promote your fears and maybe you go and take your money out. And of course, we all know there's not a...
No, it's not about maybe whether you'll take your money out. What they're trying to do is start censoring people so that people don't get the idea to take their money out to stop this movement. If you take your money out now, this is way ahead of time. Do it now. You can prevent the central bank digital currency from happening.
enough physical dollars in place to support the American economy. By some estimates, it's just 4% of the money in our economy exists in paper form. And I think that's even high. Some people say it's as low as 1 or 2%.
Yeah, we're going to get to all of that.
And so and so if we were all to panic, there just wouldn't be enough. So, it's interesting that they're blaming, though, users, nameless users.
I want you guys to remember this. It's first come, first serve. The first wave of people are going to get their money. So if you're a procrastinator, you're going to be ass out. Because eventually enough people are going to make a run on the bank that there's not going to be any money left over for the other people. So it's first come and first serve. I'm just throwing that out there. So if you're contemplating on whether or not you should do this, remember, it's first come, first serve. So the faster you get in there, do what you need to do. Remember, money metals, you could do transfers, do wires from your bank. You could purchase large amounts through your bank without actually using cash. So just call Money Metals and work with them. Do what you can to protect yourself. But I want you guys to keep that in mind. It's first come, first serve. So if you're dragging your ass, you'll have nobody to blame when this all happens and you don't have access to your money. I've been warning people for the longest time, and now it's actually happening.
Their names rather than the media, because what are we doing by creating panic any more than mainstream media?
Right. Well, and they want, and again, this is mainstream media. They're in bed on all of this, to drive this panic and this awareness about this, because then that means you will stay away from cash. They want you off cash. They want to move you in this way, towards this, towards this thing. The bad news now, and there's lots of it. Go ahead, Philip.
This is David. And really quick, I didn't know if you saw what Michael Saylor tweeted yesterday, but he says, and he's talking specifically of Bitcoin, but what he's getting at is alternative is a bank that can't lend out, invest, gamble, dilute, debase, freeze, or seize your assets. It works all the time, everywhere in the world, and is unstoppable. And that's the thing, like they're trying to make it, because these banks make these horrible investments, these, the people that hold our money.
Cryptocurrencies are not unstoppable. Look, when you go to purchase cryptocurrencies from anywhere, where does the money come from? Inside your bank account. Whenever you sell cryptocurrencies, where does the money go to? Inside your bank account. Anything and everything that's tied to the banking industry is compromised and still in the system.
They're greedy. They can loan out 10 times or even more than that now than what we actually have in there, and there's no way for us to control it. So he's saying, Bitcoin is one of those things where we need to take control of our own money.
Yeah, and that's why it's up 10% today. 10% this morning.
Yeah, they want you guys to focus on cryptocurrencies. They do. They want you to go, look, everybody's running to cryptocurrencies. I should do the same thing. XRP to the moon. Yeah, all this crap. No. Because once everybody starts running there and you drive the prices up, they're going to take all their money out and they crash cryptocurrencies. They don't want you using any alternative banking system. What they're really trying to do is divert you away from buying gold and silver by jacking up the price of cryptocurrencies. So that lure is much more shinier than the other one.
That's a big jump.
So bad news now. There's lots of it. Credit Suisse is about to become the next big bank to collapse. They're falling like dominoes. Here are the headlines today. Credit Suisse shares fall to all-time low as bank announces it has found material weakness. Just hours after Wall Street expert predicted that it would be the next to fall after the Silicon Valley Bank.
Look, man, somebody has got to be accountable. In 2008, all these bankers made all kinds of piss poor decisions with other people's money. You know how many of them went to jail? One. They called him a rogue banker. One. The other people, not only did they not go to jail, but they gave themselves super huge bonuses. Some people got like 20 million, some got 50 million. One guy got like $200 million bonus. And the government didn't do anything about that?
So Credit Suisse shares fell 5% to an all-time low, $8 billion in losses.
I love the sort of archaeological speak there. Like, we just found it. We were digging and we found this and we didn't know. Like, it was hidden in our balance sheet somewhere.
This weakness, we found this material weakness in our walls, in our foundation.
I mean,
you don't know that this is here. The truth is, of course they know it's here. That's the point. They all know it's here, right? And the FDIC a few months ago planned all of this.
They're supposed to be professional bean counters.
Yeah, remember Clayton played a leaked video from inside a meeting with the FDIC in which they know the banks are getting ready to collapse. And they're talking about finding ways to hide it from the public, but also to make sure that the high-valued customers are aware of what's going on. You're not one of those high-valued customers. So what you do is you beat them to the punch. Take it out now, and it screws over even those people who are all part of the in crowd.
Your weakness.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? The FDIC only has $200 billion in cash on hand to insure over $9 trillion in deposits.
In other words, that money is not for you. $200 billion to insure $9 trillion. By the time they pay off all the derivatives and all the creditors and everything else, there's going to be $0 left for you. So if you're one of those people going, I'm not worried about a Pimpy, I'm under the $200,000 FDIC, I'm going to get my money back. No, you're not. I spoke about this a year ago. Lynette Zhang has covered this. There's not enough money in the kitty or the pool of the FDIC to cover everybody. Who's going to get covered? Derivatives to cover the asses of those people who mismanage your money. And you're going to have a lot of people who are part of the in crowd who's going to get their money first. And if there's anything left over, you might get something.
So what happens if all of those people suddenly want their money in cash? It's impossible because that cash doesn't actually exist. The total financial Armageddon. So in case of a bank run, there are over $9 trillion deposited dollars in the U.S. banking system. How are you going to cover $9 trillion? You can't, with only $200 billion in assets.
Well, we saw that happen in Greece, in Turkey.
In Cyprus.
ATMs shut down.
Yeah.
So come back tomorrow.
For those of you who have been with me for a long time now, like almost 3 years, if not 3 years, I think it's been 3 years already. 3 years. Way back when I first started my channel, literally like the second month, I warned everybody about what happened in Cyprus. I said, lessons from Cyprus, where you can learn from the bail-ins. And that was what I was using to explain to people why you should take your money out of the bank account.
Yeah, exactly. And Afghanistan, your money's gone. It's gone. Here is the leaked FDIC meeting from a few months ago, where they admit this exact problem. Watch.
Should be accessible when people need to know, but I don't think you have much hope of reaching a public that doesn't have a professional need to know.
I completely agree with that. I almost think you'd scare the public if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim. Right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do.
Wow. And then they laugh about it. He says that the public has the full faith in the banking system more than the people in that room. And the people in that room run our banking system. We allow things to get this way. We just trusted that the people that were elected, or whatever you want to call it, were there to protect us. But they're not. That's why we have to revamp our entire system.
That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in. They're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people that will charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public. I wondered whether there are...
Yeah. There's a group of lawyers that are in that room with these bankers and the FDIC, the coming crash of our banking system. It's here. It's here now. And you can hear what they're saying. They prefer that the people that are in the need to know be aware of what's going on, but those who are outside of the reason for need to know should not catch wind of this at all. In other words, let's screw over everybody else except for the rich people.
Some keep market it quiet.
Tests
basically
being heard.
Basically, keep it quiet is the answer here.
I mean, how do we really communicate with the stupid little peons?
Right.
Because there will be smart people who figure it out, but the rest of them, how do we manipulate and control the stupid people is what they're saying.
Yeah, and just let those people believe that, hey, this money is there, that this money is available, and don't worry about it. Don't even ask any questions. Just go along with it. Now, if you needed
Run along your pretty little head.
Now, if you needed any more proof of this, that this was all orchestrated, the feds alerted the Israelis to get their money out ahead of time. So we learned that Israeli firms transferred $1 billion out of Silicon Valley Bank to Israel before the seizure by the feds.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's almost like insider trading. I'm telling people that I like, before the doo-doo hits the fan, to take their money out of the bank. But I'm not telling the rest of the public. We really got to do something about our government, man. It is way out of control. And all they keep doing is screwing us out of our money more and more and more. Our government contacted Israel to let them know to get their money out of the bank, but did not let the rest of the public know. Let that sink in.
What?
Yeah. So, again, when Biden admitted the other day in that speech yesterday morning that, yes, we knew about this last week, I alerted my team. They knew about this last week and waited, of course, till Friday to get the messaging out about this. So they knew ahead of time what was going on here. Oh, Israel, you guys might want to get your money out because what we're about to do is seize this bank.
Peter Thiel took his money out, so he knew. He had to have known. He's the one that they say triggered this bank run. For those who don't know who Peter Thiel is, he's the guy that helped fund Facebook to make it as big as it is, along with many other projects. He's a venture capitalist, and he took his money out of the Silicon Valley Bank before they collapsed. So these people are being warned ahead of time, and not the general public.
Nice of them to tell the rest of us.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it's unbelievable. Just wait. Don't worry about it. So here's the other part of this big bad news, which is say goodbye to your local banks. So I think that this is all lockdown.
I just was talking about that.
2.0 happening here. Because if you think about what happened during lockdowns, right? The lockdowns were a consolidation of power. The Walmarts, the Amazons,
sure,
the Target, all of those big corporations were deemed essential and made off fine, right? Because they could get deliveries out, they could absorb the lack of foot traffic in their stores, and the small businesses went under.
Yes.
Small businesses collapsed. The same thing is about to happen now, and they wanted that to happen, by the way. They wanted to push the small guys out.
And I keep saying these things and people think I'm a fear-mongering, or I'm a fear porn, or Pimpy is wearing a tinfoil hat. Look, I'm not the only one saying this. You hear this. We all see the bigger picture. You don't see any of them going, don't worry about it. The white hats are in charge. Just sit back and eat popcorn and we'll kill the clones. You don't see any of that shit.
They wanted to consolidate power. They wanted to push those small businesses under. And this is exactly what
Carol
Roth writes about in her book called The War on Small Businesses, How Lockdowns Crushed Small Businesses and Destroyed America. The same thing is happening now in the banking sector to local banks, small local banks. That's why I think it's lockdowns 2.0 all over again. Dozens of major regional lending banks have seen their stocks tank in the past 24 to 48 hours as much as 70%. Regional banks, according to MarketWatch, are seeing a flight of deposits as too big to fail mega banks. So people are pulling their money out of these small little regional banks and flooding them into the big banks. And this is exactly what they want.
Yeah, don't
allow
do that.
These small banks to collapse, consolidate power at the hands of,
that's exactly what I said. A couple days ago, I said this. Yesterday, I said this. I said this 2 years ago. I'm noticing that there's some kind of merger happening everywhere. I did a whole video on mergers between transportation, hotels and airlines, trains, all kinds of different industries where there used to be plenty of different companies have now merged into a small handful of people who are going to control everything that we do.
Bank of America, Wells Fargo, a few key big banks.
Well, it's the small banks, too, that are fighting back on the reporting of microtransactions because they say this will crush us. We can't actually. So when we reported on the changes to the tax legislation that would go after, let's say, $600 Venmo transactions or microtransactions, and they're saying report this directly to the federal government, the Association of Small Banks, in fact, there was a spokesperson for a small bank association on the Wealthability podcast. I refer you to that, who said this is a war on small banks. And why then would the government say launch this war on small banks to get after transactions that it wants to?
Right here.
Yeah, for this very reason.
Here's the reason.
Well, and also it's like the big banks all had foreknowledge of this, but the little banks are never notified. Because, like, I don't know if you guys have talked about it or if it was in the newsletter, but Silicon Valley Bank CEO Greg Becker sold $3.6 million of his stock under trading plan less than 2 weeks before they disclosed the extensive losses that led.
See, they take care of their monies before they allow the public to take care of theirs. Do you see what they're doing? Do you guys see the much bigger picture? You can beat them. Take your money out of the bank.
Led to the failure. So he sold that many shares 2 weeks before this happened. So they had to have some kind of foreknowledge this was coming, correct?
Right.
Surely.
Again, and just like the Israeli firms were given a heads up, hey, you might want to get your money out of here because we're about to do this. What about the little guy? Can we get a heads up from the federal government on this stuff?
Right. Again, it's the language that's like, oh, we didn't know our financials were bad. All of a sudden they were. For anybody who, let's say, keeps a balance sheet of their own finances or balances their checkbook or whatever banking account, like, that doesn't just happen. You know your financials are bad. You've known it for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if the CEO is taken out two weeks before, that means he at least knew 2 weeks before that the books were bad.
Much more than that.
Yeah.
Much more than
right.
that.
Again, so this is not a mystery. We weren't caught by...
So at the same time, these bankers are taking their money out and selling their shares. You have people like Jim Cramer on MSNBC telling everybody, buy, buy, buy. So do you see how they work together? All these criminals work together in the same organization. They protect each other. They have insider trader information. We get censored on social media platforms. I mean, you guys, this is really bad. We are responsible for allowing this government to get to where they are today.
Surprised that this was happening. This was
It's not
all
like,
here. And
again,
the FDI, I come back to the meetings. The FDIC is telling us in these meetings that they know about this.
Right.
They told us that the banks aren't solvent. They told us in that meeting that this is all a joke. The emperor has no clothes.
Again, this term material weakness is not like finding a cracked beam in a house by an inspector. That's not how money works.
Right. No, it's not. And this made my jaw drop. So I want to get to this. This is unbelievable. If your jaw doesn't drop, then maybe something's wrong with your jaw, because this is amazing. When I learned this, how much money do you think is in circulation? We've talked tangentially about this, but I'm just going to ask you guys in the chat room right now. How much money do you think is in circulation by the United States government? Remember, more money was created by the U.S. government in the past 3 years than in the entire history of the United States.
But that's digital money. It's not real money. It's digital.
Printed and put into circulation post-COVID.
We're talking about physical money.
Well, I'm talking about...
Or we're talking
No, I'm talking about money. I'm talking about the actual liquidity. How much money is in circulation? The U.S. money supply. That includes cash, but it also includes...
money created.
I'll give you the exact... Let me give you the exact definition. I'm kind of jumping ahead here. The exact definition of the money supply is money that includes financial assets held by mainly by households, such as savings deposits, time deposits, balances in the retail money market, mutual funds, liquid financial assets, okay? Currency, travelers' checks, demand, all of it, the money supply in the United States. How much do you think is in circulation in the United States?
I'm going to guess 15, 20 billion.
15 or 20 billion is in circulation. Total money in the money supply of the United States. What would you say, guessing?
You're saying 15 billion, but how much have we given to Ukraine? It has to be more than that.
Okay.
Well, that's still in circulation, though.
Right, but we didn't give them all. We've given them 15 billion.
Okay, let me
So
give
we
you,
did not give them the total. What is the question? In the United States?
It's not a difficult question.
Or in the economy?
Am I speaking...
I think what the difference is, you're talking about physical, printed...
Yeah,
like
that. Yes, that.
No, he's talking about... Okay. Just...
You see Clayton, he's about to lose himself. Look, Clayton knows what he's talking about. How many physical dollars out there?
Tell us, because we're going to continue to parse out the definitions.
I just read the definition of the money supply to you, travelers' checks, deposits in the bank, direct
asking appropriate qualifiers.
This is why they.
Yeah, because when you say that, I still hear physical. When I'm not thinking like the invisible money that is just the numbers that they added in a computer. Like there's the difference between the money they print and the money that they just add into the computer. So if we're concluding that as well,
all right, we're tanking your punchline. So just
I
give
know
it to
you guys
us.
are totally.
I'm gonna chime in and say I'm gonna guess somewhere about 10 to 15 trillion. It would be my guess.
Well, you are spot on, young Philip. You are spot on. The answer to the U.S. money supply, the total money supply, including those coins and papered notes and all of that, traveler's checks, everything that we run our economy on is 15 trillion. I'm sorry, it's close, actually close. 21 trillion. 21 trillion is the U.S. money supply right now. And look at 2020. Like, look at this. This is a 5-year chart that I pulled up here for you. A 5-year chart. This is the U.S. money supply for 5 years. 21 trillion.
The mainstream media is focusing on Democrats versus Republicans, poor versus the rich, black versus white. They are keeping us totally distracted from what it is we need to know. And right now, what you need to know is what to do with your money. Get it the hell out of the bank. If you want to prevent the central bank digital currency from happening, everybody, and I mean as many people as possible, need to take their money out now. Do it and force them into a situation prematurely and really screw them over. We should take back the power that we used to have. We relinquished it. We need to get it back. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think. Man, do not procrastinate. Get your money out of the bank account now. I'll look forward to your comments and I'll catch you later. I am out.